Hi, this week for scripture study we did a worksheet on symbolism, and so as an assignment we were asked to make a video on what we learned from reading and from working with the symbolism. So today I'm going to share what I learned in John chapter 8, and the verse I was really focusing on was verse 12 because it talks about how Jesus is the light of the world. But really, this chapter is about a woman who was taken in adultery. So she was found in the act. And it says that the scribes and Pharisees brought the woman to Jesus and, set her in the middle and said she should be stoned. What do you think? And Jesus just wrote in the ground as if he didn't hear them. And so they continued to ask him, they continued to bug him. And he says in chapter 7, or in verse 7, "He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her." And then he just started writing in the ground again. And the Pharisees were just blown away. And it says in verse 9, "Being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even to the last, and Jesus was left alone with the woman." And so Jesus lifted himself up and saw no one but her and said, "Where are your condemners? Where are the people who accuse thee?" And she says she doesn't see anyone, and he says, "Well, neither do I. I don't condemn you either. Go and sin no more." And in verse 12 is the one that I found with the symbolism. It says, Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life." And for me, that's so important, because here's a woman who was caught in such a horrendous act, and even with her, God just said, just go and sin no more. Go and be healed, be good. And he just forgave her. And he basically made this big point to the Pharisees that you can't judge, because no one can judge, because we've all sinned and we've all been in places to have sinned. And so the only person who can judge is Jesus. And in this verse, he really makes a point that he says, I am the light of the world. They that follow me shall have light and shall not stumble in the darkness. And it really makes a point that the Pharisees, they thought they were all big and bad, but they really couldn't judge him either. But it goes on in verse 13, "The Pharisees therefore said unto him, Thou bearest record of thyself, thy record is not true. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Though I bear record of myself, yet my record is true, for I know whence I came and whither I go. But ye cannot tell whence I came and whither I go. Yet ye judge after the flesh, I judge no man." And that in itself makes a really good point. He says, I'm the light of the world. I don't need you to tell me who I am. I don't need you to tell me where to go or what to do, because I know who I am. And just because you say it's not true doesn't mean anything. This woman, the only person who can judge her is me. And I think that applies so much in our own life. We have to not only know who we are, but we have to know that Christ is the only one who can judge us. And he's the only one who can save us. And if we follow after him, that we will never be alone, and we'll never be afraid, and we'll always have him to watch over and protect us, and he will be our light to where we can find our way home.